Hey, this is Todd. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word. I am so glad that you've joined us as we are jumping into Judges. And today we're talking about Gideon's snare. And that's taken from Judges 8, verses 22 to 27. Okay, Judges 8, 22 to 27. Gideon's snare. If you have your Bibles, I'm going to read it here. Remember here, Gideon is he's defeated the enemy now. Okay, so they're all pretty much wiped out. So, let's see what happens here. Verse 22, it says this: The Israelites said to Gideon, "Rule over us, you and your son and your grandson, because you have saved us from the hand of Midian." But Gideon told them, "I will not rule over you, nor will my son rule over you. The Lord will rule over you." And he said, "I do have one request, that each of you give me an earring from the share of plunder." It was the custom of the Ishmaelites to wear gold earrings. They answered, "We'll be glad to give them." So they spread out their garment, and each of them threw a ring from his plunder into it. The weight of the gold rings he asked for came to 1,700 shekels, not counting the ornaments, the pendants, and the purple garments worn by the kings of Midian, or the chains that were on the camels' necks. Remember, the last time we talked, Gideon had already got the chains from the camels' necks. Gideon made the gold into an ephod, which he placed in Orpha, his town. All Israel prostituted themselves by worshiping it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and his family. All right, so what has happened here is, out of all the plunder, Gideon says, "Hey, just give me a piece of it." So, the guys have handfuls of jewelry and stuff, and they each give him an earring out of it. And then they probably threw some other stuff in too. So he's got this plunder, and he makes an ephod. Remember, the ephod was for the priests. All of a sudden, Gideon is like this warrior, and he thinks, "Well, I think I'll become a priest too." That's not what God never ever intended for Gideon to become the priest. Okay, and here he does. He's like, "Oh, let me become a priest and make this ephod." Okay. As a result of this, he made this thing, and it became a snare. The last verse, it says, all Israel prostituted themselves by worshiping it there, and it became a snare to Gideon and his family. He made this thing, and then the people, they go and worship the thing, and it became a snare. It became a trap. We're working here in this place, and we've talked about it the past several days, we're taking all this, everything out, okay? And so the pieces of wood and stuff that we take out have nails in them, and so we should be picking those up so that they're not a snare. There's been several times I've been walking around here, and as I'm walking around, all of a sudden I have a piece of wood or something on my foot. Well, it's because this nail is stuck up into my foot, into my shoe, and it's been a snare. Just like you have, and I tell the guys this too, you have the tack strip here. I don't know if you can see that. There's a nice close-up of it. So these tack strips are meant to hold down the carpet, okay? They're not meant to be just laying around. But as these are laying around, they become a snare. So what we try and do is take them off and then put them in the trash can right away so they don't become a snare. Because once they become a snare, they end up hurting you. You go and you're doing something. And I've told you before how when we're supposed to take all the nails out of the place, when we do that. And there was one time I was, not all the nails were out, and I was walking through something like a door like what we have here. And as I was walking through, there was a nail sticking out still, and it caught me. It was a snare. It caught me, and I still have the mark, I don't know if you can see it there, on my arm. I don't know how long that scar will be there. But it was a snare, and it got me, okay? In the same way, sometimes we think things are good, and it's not godly, okay? But we think they're good, and they become a snare to us. And we've added to the gospel, we've added to what God has shown us, and it becomes a snare then. It becomes a trap. And so we need to get rid of it and only do what God has asked us to do, okay? So watch out for those snares. Gideon, he made a snare himself, and it became a snare to the people. Caught them up. So watch out for that. All right, I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I'll see you tomorrow as we continue our journey jumping into Judges. We'll see you then. Lord's blessing to you.